Good evening, and thank you for joining me on Black News Tonight. I'm Marc Lamont Hill. Tonight, devastation and loss in Haiti. This as the death toll continues to rise after a massive earthquake strikes the island nation over the weekend. The massive 7.2 earthquake struck early Saturday morning just a few miles from the town of Petit-Trou-de-Nip and about 93 miles west of the capital, Port-au-Prince. More than 1,400 people have lost their lives, and thousands have been injured, and tens of thousands of homes and buildings have been damaged, with a shortage of doctors in the western part of the country, where about 1 million people have been impacted. The health system is being stretched thin, and medical personnel and hospitals cite being overburdened by the influx of patients while dealing with the difficulty of damaged roads, hindering necessary on-scene supplies, care, and treatment. Meanwhile, a coming tropical depression, Grace, is heading through the Caribbean toward Haiti, which will further strain the efforts of those providing urgent medical care and aiding in Haiti's recovery following the deadly earthquake. And as Camila Bernal explains, the destruction has already made it difficult for vital supplies to reach the affected areas.
People still believed to be under the rubble in Haiti.
Hopefully we will continue to search if there was any survivors or to recuperate the bodies that's still under the rubbles.
The 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck the country Saturday, killing almost 1,300 people. Haiti's government says more than 13,000 homes are destroyed and close to 14,000 others are damaged.
The report really shows that it's really bad.
And it could be worse. Tropical depression Grace threatening to bring flash flooding and mudslides.
It first puts an additional pressure on handling a disaster in a very complex situation.
The U.S. and several Latin American countries are preparing to support Haiti, and the Red Cross's emergency response system has been activated.
Now what we need to do is trying to coordinate things, the actions, and make sure that there will be a better impact and the victims actually will be really helped.
The destruction from the quake has already pushed hospitals to the brink and blocked roads, making it difficult for vital supplies to reach the affected areas. The Prime Minister says they need to lend a hand to those in need and help them get back on their feet. He acknowledged that people are suffering, but said he also sees resilience. I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Tensions continue to rise after the evacuation of U.S. Embassy personnel from Afghanistan over the weekend as the Taliban sweeps through the country. Officials report that at least 7 people were killed during the chaos, including several people who fell to their deaths while trying to hold on to the U.S. military plane as it took off from the runway in Kabul. On Saturday, President Joe Biden ordered an additional 1,000 troops to secure the airlift of U.S. Embassy personnel and Afghan allies, bringing a total number of U.S. troops expected in Afghanistan to 6,000. Earlier today, Biden defended his decision, saying he wants to be the last president to deal with the chaos in Afghanistan.
Our mission in Afghanistan is taking many missteps, made many missteps over the past 2 decades. I'm now the 4th American president to preside over war in Afghanistan, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. I will not pass this responsibility on to a 5th president.
Joining me now to bring insight into the unfolding situation in Afghanistan is BNC Chief Foreign Affairs correspondent Nayyera Haq. Welcome to the show, Nayyera. Good to see you as always. First of all, what do you make of what President Biden said earlier today?
It was a little cold for the healer-in-chief that we have known him to become, but it was also the straight talk express that we've also known about Joe Biden. One of the key things about him that when he served as vice president, he sat in the room with the Joint Chiefs, with the diplomats, with the intelligence community, and saw how people continued to justify and explain the expansion of the U.S. footprint in Afghanistan. And so that's part of what colored his lens as he realized that he was going to be the 4th president to preside over the war, and determined, as he said in an earlier speech, that he would not allow somebody who is now a young person to serve in the same war as their parents, because that is what is the result of 20 years since 9/11.
Talk to me about these 20 years since 9/11. How did we get here, and why did we stay here? And by here, I mean Afghanistan.
We got there as a response to 9/11 because the Taliban government at the time in 2001 was giving a safe haven to al-Qaeda and terrorist networks. So that was a retaliatory set of airstrikes that very quickly, within 6 or 7 months, turned into a nation-building exercise. It was a complete pivot of the mission into something the United States has never actually been able to do successfully, and then should not have continued to do. That moment, those 6 or 7, 8 months, could have been the moment when the Taliban was on the run. They were willing to negotiate with the United States and do cede ground and allow an Afghan democracy to take root. That would have been the moment, but Donald Rumsfeld under President Bush decided he was not going to do that. So some of this is what we call mission creep. It's when the military continues to add on to their footprint. Some of it was also the magical thinking that happens when people do tabletop exercises to war game and don't actually understand the reality on the ground, which is ultimately that Afghanistan has been a graveyard of empires. It has had a hardy, strong people across the country that have known what it is to wait out those who are trying to build empires. They did it with the Soviets, and now, as we see, we've done it again with the United States.
President Obama ran for office committed to getting us out of this. Donald Trump, for all of his faults, said, I don't want to be involved in anyone else's mess, and talked about pulling out of foreign wars. If the political will is there by Democrats and Republicans, even if for different reasons, and if this is a grossly unpopular war, why did it take 20 years? Even given all the factors you've said, it seems to me that we still could have pulled out sooner. Is this really just fear of the Taliban taking over Afghanistan, or is there something else at play that we're missing?
No president wanted to end up where President Biden is right now, which is the sacrifice of men and women, the sacrifice of troops, resulting in exactly the same situation from when we started. And so it was, there's a business fallacy called the sunk cost. You keep throwing in, money because then you keep feeling bad because you already put in more, so you got to put in more. You really want it to work out. And President Biden really has been the first president to say, doesn't matter what happens, it's going to stop now. With that said, while it was inevitable that the U.S. would withdraw, it did not need to happen in this way. It was very predictable, knowing actually early intelligence reports, that the Taliban were going to take over ground quickly. It was very well known for several years, in fact, that the Afghan National Army was not getting money down to its fighters, that they were not being fed on a regular basis, and that their ammunition was rudimentary at best. So all of this, the corruption, this was all known, and that's why I said there was a bit of magical thinking that often military leaders get into. Interestingly enough, President Biden did not go with the popular female candidate who comes from the defense industrial complex to be Secretary of Defense, because she was arguing in many meetings during the vice presidency, and now even when he was candidate Biden, that the United States should look to have some kind of permanent military base. The same way there's a base in Germany, a base in Japan, and South Korea. There's actually been a base everywhere the United States has fought a war, and they've all been shorter than what we've seen happen in Afghanistan. In fact, President Biden then ended up selecting the first black Secretary of Defense, because he was one of the few generals who agreed that the sacrifice that had been made across the board was not going to be worth continuing the effort. And that goes to then the political reality here in the United States, Mark, that Americans were completely ambivalent about this war. These were not images that people were seeing regularly. Most people did not have skin in the game with their families serving in this war in the way they did with Vietnam. So until the American public saw images like they've seen in the last 48 hours, they were content with, and probably still are, just indefinite U.S. abandonment.
I got about 20 seconds, Nayyera, and I know it's a complicated question here, but America has been an imperialist project for a very long time. And when we talk about exiting Afghanistan, for some people that's the most generous and peaceful move we can make, but it comes at a cost. Is there a way to do what you said, that is to have a base in Afghanistan long term and not just be an occupying force like we've been in Iraq or like we've been in other places?
The irony here is that you've had successive governments in Afghanistan that wanted the United States to remain because they understood that there was a grift and a corruption racket going on in their country, but ultimately the security offered by the United States allowed an entire generation of girls to go to school and become women, thinking that the Taliban were only something they read about in the history book. So that was this is the end result of the United States entering into a ground war to begin it with. It needed to exit it responsibly, and that's the challenge that we're seeing now, is that this all seems very haphazard, despite the fact that the information has been there.
Nayyera Haq, as always, brilliant analysis. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. And of course, everyone, make sure you watch The World Tonight, every night, 5 p.m. Eastern, where she and Kelly Wright give brilliant analysis all day. Turning to the latest in COVID-19 news, as schools begin to reopen, coronavirus cases among children, they're on the uptick. More than 120,000 new childhood COVID-19 cases have been reported in the last week, according to a recent report released by the Children's Hospital Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics. There's been an 80% rise in reported daily deaths over the last 2 weeks, averaging around 650 per day. The highly contagious Delta variant has been hitting younger children as well. Data released by JAMA Pediatrics shows toddlers are more likely to spread the virus to other family members, while older kids often actually bring the virus home. Be sure to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Head over to our BNC Instagram and Twitter pages. Let us know how you feel. Also, visit our website, bnc.tv, and subscribe to our YouTube page to check out clips from the show.